You want to know how I know that white supremacy is losing its grip? Because you have people like this James Bradley, and I wouldn't have known who this person was until I saw Kid Gravity retweet, well, quote tweet this video that I'm not going to play because it's very violent, onto his page. And I just looking at this part right here, because this is at the very beginning of the video. I said, I know what this video is because I remember seeing it, but it was a while ago when I saw it. So this James Bradley posted up this tweet with this video, and he says, I wonder why suddenly, and he put suddenly in all caps, black people feel so empowered to attack white people with impunity. And then he puts the raise the eyebrow emoji. This is how you know, like I said before, that white supremacy is losing its grip, because you have to put out propaganda like this in order to try to spread this narrative that black people are going out here attacking white people. Just like that Charlie Cheon said that black people are going out there attacking Asian people. But I find it interesting that neither one of them has spoken about the Asians in the South of the Bordarian gang members that attacked this Asian owned establishment in New York. And that was recent. Now, this video is from 2021, May of 2021. As a matter of fact, it is 2023. This dude brought up an old video and tried to pass it off as something that was recent. He tried to pass it off as something that was recent in order to rile up his band of buddies, you know, the usual suspects, in order to put out this narrative that black people are just going out there attacking white people for whatever reason. Now, before I actually get into some of the quoted tweets, I'm going to pause this right quick and actually bring up the article from where this video came from. So this is the article right here. It was posted October 27, 2022. It says, mom faces prison time for attack at local Little Caesars. So this is her mugshot, her side profile right here. And I believe they said that she got sentenced to 5 years in prison. And I believe she's got 10 years probation. So I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. It says a mother pled guilty in an attack on another woman at Little Caesars that was captured in a viral video last year. Brittany Kennedy pleaded guilty to kidnapping and criminal damage to property, as well as battery and cruelty to children, because her daughter was there. Judge Jesse Stone sentenced her to 5 years in prison, followed by 10 years on probation. District Attorney Jared Williams said the plea was the result of a negotiated resolution that the victim, Emily Broadwater, specifically requested. Now you got to ask yourself, as a woman who was beaten as like how she was, because this woman beat her, kicked her, and literally dragged her by her hair out of the door. If y'all seen the video, y'all already know what I'm talking about, and continued to beat her as she was outside. He says she stated she wished for the defendant to have the chance to get out of prison and be part of her children's lives. Williams said it showed incredible maturity and a heart of forgiveness. The scuffle at the Little Caesars at 3221 Wrightsboro Road apparently stemmed from a long-standing dispute between the women. The victim stated that she had, quote unquote, been having issues with the suspect for a while. Now, a deputy wrote in a report on the incident. In fact, Kennedy was a suspect in another incident involving the victim, the deputy wrote. The victim stated she was a friend of the father of Kennedy's child. So there it is right there. They say friend to put it lightly, but it was something more than that. And I believe that this woman, Brittany Kennedy, got wind of that, and then that's when she confronted her. So there's the context right there. But it's going to lead to a bigger thing, because I'm going to go back to the video. Surveillance video from around 4 p.m. May 17, 2021 showed the victim sitting in a chair of the Little Caesars lobby. Then Kennedy entered at 4:07 p.m. and confronted the victim, according to deputies. Kennedy spoke to the victim for a few seconds, then grabbed her by her hair on the back of her head and pulled her out of the chair before throwing her to the floor, according to deputies. Kennedy also grabbed the victim by her hair again and dragged her across the lobby, the deputy wrote. At this point, the victim was lying flat on her back. Kennedy then got on top of the victim and struck her in the face and head multiple times with a closed fist, according to the deputy. Kennedy then grabbed the victim by the hair again and dragged her onto the sidewalk in front of the business. Kennedy then stood over the victim and stomped on the victim's head multiple times, causing the victim's head to strike the concrete each time. Bystanders were able to get the victim away from Kennedy and bring her back inside of the business. Kennedy then left in a Kia sedan. The video that went viral was captured by cell phone separately from the surveillance video. So now that we've read the whole article, we got some context. Let's go back to that video. Now pay attention to the caption. Again, I wonder why suddenly black people feel so empowered to attack white people with impunity. He said suddenly as if this incident happened yesterday. I'm recording this video on March 12, 2023, by the way. He's speaking on this as if this event happened yesterday. Mind you, this happened over 2 years ago. Over 2 years ago. It happened May 17th, 2021. She got sentenced last October. But the way that this James Bradley frames it, you would think that this just happened this week. Because keep in mind, he put suddenly in all caps. He wanted you to pay attention to that in particular. Whenever someone types in all caps, they really want you to pay attention to whatever it is that they're saying. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go through the quoted tweets. And shout out to, hold on, let me pause. It's going to be hard because I'm going to have to pause it each time as I'm going through, because every time you go through, you gotta pause the video, because every time you go through a different frame, it's like a different tweet. It'll start the video at any time. Now look at this one, Fist of Freedom. They just posted this. They said niggas acting like niggas. I want y'all to keep in mind, you're going to see a lot of these type of comments. We're going to go through a few of them because it literally shows what this James Bradley guy was attempting to do and successfully did. This Dawn person said, this girl better start defending herself. You do have the right to fight back. You dig. You dig. That don't even sound like something she says outside of social media, but okay, whatever. I didn't mean to start the video up. This person here says another animal that belongs in a cage. It's gonna be hard for me to try to pause these videos. I really don't want to have these. You know what? I think I know what I'm gonna do. Hold on right quick. All right. So what I'm gonna just do is just highlight the comment, and what I'm gonna have to do is every time I go through a different comment, I'm gonna have to pause and go, pause and go. So this Joseph Rivera says another animal that belongs in a cage. You know that they love to call black people animals. This Juan Maga Grande says arm up. Keep in mind, whenever stuff like this happens, when it's black people, they speak in a different tone than when it is a lot of other groups, especially themselves. It sounds completely different. For those of you who are not on Twitter, you're getting a first grand look at what's going on. This one says, I hope the lady is found, arrested, and prosecuted. Unfortunately for her, God is watching. He knows all and sees all. Justice will be served. See, this is what I'm talking about. They have no context behind anything of what's going on. They have no clue that this video is not even new. This James Bradley put this video up and passed it off as if it was recent. There was very little to no coverage on it, even though it was. And I just read it to you. That's why I read that whole article to you, so you can know who this woman was by name. You knew who this white woman was by name and the situation at hand. But these individuals literally saw a video of a black woman beating the ish out of a white woman and just said, went with the usual narrative because that's what they do. Again, let's continue. This Mary G said this woman should be locked up and have her welfare canceled forever. Well, Mary, what makes you think that this woman's on welfare? Because she's black? Just know that white people are the bulk of welfare recipients. For all we know, this white woman she was fighting could have been the one on welfare. Did ever think about that? No, because you came with your anti-black rhetoric. See, the thing is, they can never just focus on the situation at hand without bringing race into it, but then get mad when black people bring up racism. Go figure. I'm telling you, taking both sides of the discussion. Let's continue. This person said, I think it's coming to a halt. Quickly bring it. That sounds very subliminal for something. I have no clue for what, but it sounds very subliminal for something rather dark. This one says, Eric Anderson, as the kid joins in, great way to raise your kid. We know what they mean when they say that. Basically saying black people are bad parents. Look at this egghead right here. It says, what is the law saying concerning such an act? Racist perpetrators are the problem of the united people. It's barbarically and condemnable. Again, they have no context about what happened. These individuals don't even know that this happened 2 years ago. Over 2 years ago. This is not a new story. They just see a video of a black woman beating a white woman in a Little Caesars and dragging her out, and they just are putting up whatever. Nowhere are they even asking what happened or how did this get started. The point that I'm making here as I'm going through these comments, I'm going to just say it right now, is not one individual whose comments I'm going through not once stated, we need all the facts. What happened leading up to this? What happened prior to her coming in there and fighting her? Why did she fight? None of these white individuals and their co-colonizing cohorts like this person who I'm highlighting right now asked those questions like they would if it was them. They just saw it and put wild animal, wild beast, bad mother, this, that, and the third, just beat this poor delicate flower. That's all they saw. And that was the point James Bradley was doing. Now, here's the thing. James Bradley most likely knows that this video was old. He most likely knows the context behind it. But he didn't care. He knew that all he had to do was put the video out there, and his dumb followers were going to eat it up and create their own narrative behind it without even knowing that there was a whole story behind this. I just went over it for you. All they had to do was go to Google like I did, type in woman fights in Little Caesars, and so many articles come up. Like literally, that's all you had to do. And considering she got sentenced last October, it's still a fairly recent story considering it hasn't even been a year since she's been sentenced. But they don't want to do that because in their mind, they've already made up in their mind that black people are just these wild, savage individuals, and these PC individuals, whether man or woman, but especially women, just need to be helped and to be coddled and to protected from the wild, savage nature of the Negro, of the modern day 21st century nigga. And look at this one. It says, what's next? And Black Civility Month just ended. I swear, they can't come up with anything new. This is how you know Dub S is losing his grip. Between this James Bradley posting an old video with no context behind it to rally his little troops behind it to say what they say, and the people on here who are supposed to be so high IQ not doing the research on what happened leading up to this so they can have an understanding as to why this woman did what she did, as brutal as it was. But these are the high IQ, as Lisa says, these are the high IQ. These are the people that's supposed to be the master race, the ones we supposed to be following behind, the leaders. Now, this kind of comment came up quite often, where you have this, I'm not going to read that name. It says Sam Adams was correct. You know how he just said that white people need to get away from black people. I wonder if that's why James Bradley posted this, because I've noticed ever since Scott Adams made that he said Sam Adams. No, his name was Scott Adams. This person, it got the person's name wrong. An idiot. I was about to say Sam. His name wasn't Sam. Ever since Scott Adams made that comment, I've noticed there's been an influx of a lot of these Dub S trying to put out these narratives, or in this case, this video that's old, of showing black people and white people getting into these confrontations so they could try to back up what Scott Adams was saying. I mean, that is a Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, Stretch Armstrong reach. If you got to reach back and pull up old videos in order to pull and put together a narrative like this, that's sad. But that is what the Dub S does best. This is nothing more like than mind manipulation. They pulled up an old video with no context behind it, and not one of them asked what was the full story. But when it comes to them doing stuff to us, then they want to say we need the whole story. We need to wait for all the facts. Again, talking out of both sides of their neck. And we always say that the white supremacists like to take up both sides of the argument. And this right here, between what James Bradley posted with no context and the people replying to it in the tone that they're doing it without asking for context behind it, is the elite example of that statement. They didn't care what the context was behind this. All they saw was this black woman savagely beating this white woman and have no clue as to why she was doing it. They just felt that this woman just walked into Little Caesars, saw this random white woman, and just began attacking her because she's white. That's the narrative that they're pushing. That somehow, some way, that black people can be more racist, if not more, than white people. Remember, there's a quote unquote war on white people, according to Mark Dice and Charlie Kirk. And apparently black people are the ones leading that war. Let them tell it. Oh, I'm sure it's a war on white people, but it ain't at the hands of black people, and for damn sure ain't being led by black people either. That war on white people is being led by other white people in a various multitude of ways, but they ain't ready to talk about that. And I don't have to talk about it either, because as far as I'm concerned, it's not my problem. Meanwhile, y'all got that shrink going on up in the upper East Coast that's turning y'all into zombies. There's your war right there. Well, one of them. But you want to pull up old videos and try to pass it off as black people are being racist toward white people. Okay, if you say so. Because nowhere in this video or anywhere in that article that I read said that this black woman called this white woman any type of derogatory or slur. So how is that going to happen? I think I've seen some more comments where people saying that she should be charged with a hate crime. Some people saying she should be charged with attempted murder. Look, she got charged with what she got charged with. She's been sentenced already to 5 years in prison and 10 years probation. Y'all would know that if you read the story. And it's not even me sitting up here defending what this black woman did. It's the fact that they immediately came at it with a preconceived narrative already in their minds because they saw a black woman beating the shit out of a white woman. And automatically in their mind, they supplanted that seed was already planted and James Bradley did it. So he was successful in doing the mind manipulation thing. The only people that's really checking James Bradley for what he said are other black people who knows that this video is old, because we've seen this video before. When I first came across it, I said, I've seen this video before. And this is like the only tweet that James Bradley made. He didn't put no link to any story related to this video. He just posted the video, passed it off as it was brand spanking new, and had his followers have a field day in the comment section and in the quoted tweets. So he probably kicked his feet up on the table after he posted this and decided, you know what? Mission accomplished. There you go. And the thing is, he's not the only person that has done something like this and will continue to do this. Think about that Asian crime report page posting up that video of those black men throwing hands at that Asian man, and they try to make it seem like black people hated Asian people when the whole context behind it was that this Asian man was inappropriately touching this minor female on the train. And when people called him out about it, he tried to clean it up by posting something else. It was like, nah, you can't even clean that up. We already got the context behind it. I think eventually they did end up deleting the tweet. Or that one that I did about Kenny Zoo a couple weeks ago, when he was talking about black people being on welfare in this high number, but the link that he posted didn't have no numbers. It didn't mention anything about race or gender. It was just like, it might as well have been a blank article. And when I confronted him about it, he deleted the tweet because black people went in on him. And I was like, a simple Google search will show you who's the most recipients of welfare. And it's not black people, not even by a margin. And that 47% number, where did that come from? Because even though white people were the highest, they said 37%. So that means that they were 10% lower than the number that you gave. So you just threw this 47% out of nowhere on not only the wrong group of people, but that number doesn't even exist for any group. See, I like doing videos like these because this is the kind of stuff right here that this is the kind of stuff that will get bypassed because it's not in mainstream media. And of course it wouldn't be, because this wouldn't be considered a news story, but it's something that definitely deserves to be called out.